Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope life is treating you good. We are going back into the black tapes. Hope everyone's enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this episode. Though I have to say the sixth episode is probably my favorite so far this season. But we still got room to go. We still got 9, 10, 11, and 12 to go. But so far, sixth has been for me, it's been the best episode so far. I hope you guys go. I have it linked in the description below that to go and listen to these without my commentary. So, without further ado, let's jump off into this bad boy.
I guess the name Samuel is common enough, but the year he died.
Were you angry about them using your grandfather's passing to manipulate you?
Well, a little bit at first, but my grandfather wasn't murdered.
Uh-oh. The truth comes out.
He died of pneumonia in the hospital from complications during a bypass.
That happens a lot, though. I remember in the 90s, there's a big thing with people, especially at our local hospital, going in for stuff, stents, bypass, not... super simple procedures, but not overly complex, not like a heart transplant or something like that, but contracting pneumonia and dying. I remember that, I want to say mid to late 90s, that was a rule from like 94 to about 98, 99. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Is there anything else you can remember about that day?
After seeing what I saw, or thought I saw, standing in that room, I just wanted to put everything behind me.
Were you aware that they were filming those experiments?
Yes. We all...
I think when they do something like that, they have to tell. I think they are legally obligated to tell you that they're filming.
I had to sign releases.
Well, the film shows that, when you were blindfolded, you actually did spell out all of those things.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
What?
I don't think what would have been my response to learning something like that, to be honest with you.
My colleague believes that you and the other members of the experiment were coached, told what to spell.
That's not true. I'm sorry, but like I said, I put all of that stuff behind me. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Now that's a signal. We're getting to the point where we're going to have a whole generation that have never heard that, because when you hang up on a cell phone, you hang up. On an old school like rotary phone or touch tone phone, when someone hangs up like that, or a busy signal, that's kind of interesting. I don't know what made me think of that. Maybe that we will have generations that will hear that sound and have absolutely no idea what it is. Unless, they're like a history, buff or something. That's kind of interesting. It's just sidetracked there. I'm sorry.
It's an original Devaldi.
Devaldi.
The demon board. I sent your photos to the talking board scholar. She said Anton Vivaldi crafted it himself.
Anton Vivaldi. I think I want to know that name, but there's several occult people that are famous with the first name Anton. In fact, I believe one of the authors of the Illuminati series back in the late 70s, the Illuminati books, which are really, really interesting reads. They are, I read them in junior high and high school because they had lots of sex in them. But as I got older and matured more, they actually have, they're kind of humorous, kind of serious, kind of, you read it and go, oh fuck, type stories.
Who is Anton Vivaldi?
It's a pseudonym. Most people believe Vivaldi was actually a man named Carson Mordecai, a contemporary of Allan Kardec. Mordecai and Kardec are considered the fathers of modern spiritism.
Kardec. Yeah, that's another name that comes up a lot. I feel I should know those names for some reason.
Spiritism?
Yes. Generally speaking, it's a movement devoted to contacting spirits and the philosophy that it entails.
Which is interesting because that was real popular late 19th century, early 20th century. So yeah, in fact, Harry Houdini was a skeptic and went around disproving stuff like that. That's interesting. Like I said, those are two names that I feel that I should know.
Mordecai was an academic and teacher, quite popular in Europe in his day.
Okay.
It may be that Mordecai, though, it may just be that it's a real common name. I believe it shows up in the Bible. If you know for sure, put it down in the comments.
In the mid-1800s, Mordecai built a talking board. Before then, people had been using writing planchettes on paper. It's basically a pencil attached to a planchette.
A few videos ago, I was talking about that after rewatching The Stand. Rewatching the 2020 remake of The Stand. And it goes back into the character of Nadine with a writing planchette. Interesting.
Instruments had been used since the 12th century in China, so it wasn't that revolutionary. But Mordecai developed a board to go with the planchette, and it took off. After Mordecai's death, talking boards really started gaining popularity, especially in Baltimore.
Baltimore? Wait, from Europe to Baltimore?
From Europe to Baltimore, actually, from China to Europe to Baltimore.
Baltimore is the historical center and birthplace of the modern talking board.
Way to go, Baltimore.
I mean, if you're going to be famous for something, there are worse things to be famous for.
That should be on their tourism brochures.
Well, legend has it that Mordecai wasn't happy about the way the talking board was being commercialized. Gaming companies were mass producing it by the late 1800s.
And like I said, back in the 1980s, with the resurgence of your high end B movie horror movies, like Friday the 13th and stuff, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Poltergeist was actually a good movie. I enjoyed the original Poltergeist, the first Poltergeist movie. Love The Shining. The Shining was a quality movie. Even though Kubrick strayed away from the source material a lot, it's Stanley Kubrick, though. Kubrick is one of those directors that gets a pass when he pulls some shit like that because, well, fuck, Kubrick was damn good.
Mordecai was quite old by this time. He didn't want to die with his legacy being used as parlor entertainment.
So he made a demon board?
Legend has it that he had an idea to make the talking board more esoteric. No one knows what his process entailed, but it was enough to scare the church, which banned all talking boards in the mid-1890s and allegedly threatened Mordecai and his family.
Yeah, I can honestly see the church doing that.
Until he swore he would no longer manufacture talking boards. Most scholars agree, however, that he continued his work under the name Vivaldi and secretly crafted at least 100 demon boards before his death.
So, what's the difference between a Ouija board and a demon board?
Yeah, that's a question that's been running around my head for a bit.
Well, there are rumors and myths, of course, the most popular being that Vivaldi had some cult in Eastern Europe perform a dark ceremony over each board. Some say...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if that sells product, it sells product. Whether it happened or not is, six one way, half dozen the other.
Involved the blood of Christians. Others say cult members performed human sacrifices while chanting satanic prayers, opening each board to Pazuzu himself.
Do you think these things actually happened?
Maybe.
And that's the skeptic talking.
But these stories work just as well if you simply make them up.
He's got a point. A very valid point.
Right.
So there it is, as usual. Strand's entire explanation of a fascinating history reduced to a few sentences. Maybe it was the demonic element, but something about this story didn't sit right with me. I found the whole episode unsettling. It felt like there were pieces missing from this picture. What did Dr. Roth and Michelle Braid...
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they tie everything together, because they're slowly weaving all the loose threads from the early episodes together. This is going to be fascinating to see how they put it all together.
really see in that room? Is it possible that two people could hallucinate or imagine seeing such similar things? That feeling of something missing kept nagging at me, so I went back to that tape to take another look.
When did you die, Samuel?
Interesting. It makes you wonder if it's just a coincidence, or if maybe somebody murdered Samuel in the hospital.
Samuel? One. 9. 8. 1985.
Interesting.
Oh my god. That's my grandfather.
It was subtle, but it was there. I played it again just to be sure. Right before the moderator asks about the year of Samuel's death, something happens. Michelle Braid's hair moves by itself. It's as if someone or something brushes her hair from her left shoulder
And places their spectral hand on her shoulder.
It's so subtle that you probably wouldn't notice it if you weren't looking for it. But it happens. It moves by itself.
Yeah, eerie, quite leery.
She smiles when it happens, as if remembering her grandfather. But it looks kind of, it's terrifying. Completely unnatural.
Kind of spooky, one might say.
Strand was hoping Michelle Braid would come clean and admit some part in faking the demon board experiment. That didn't happen, and she really didn't seem like the type to make something like that up.
The thing is she may have perceived it as real, but may have been manipulated into it. I mean, that's always a possibility.
It looks like this particular black tape mystery was going to have to remain unsolved a little longer. On the subject of unsolved mysteries, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering how Strand felt about the audio recording of his missing wife. I recorded an interview with Strand the day after we aired that episode, And that's coming up next time. Plus, a significant break in the story of Coralie Strand's disappearance. It's the Black Tapes podcast. I'm Alex Regan. We'll be back again in 2 weeks.
Well, that was a good episode. Like I said, all the episodes have been really, really good. And I've really, really enjoyed them. But 6 is still, for me, the best episode. And I like the fact that we're slowly weaving these loose ends together. I wonder if it's going to take all 3 seasons to get everything weaved together, or if it's going to be just a 1 season arc. That's going to be interesting. So, well, next time we'll be in episode 9. Until then, be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?